The merger must not be allowed to proceed. Angus Reid polling suggests clearly that 8 in 10 Canadians, and in fact 9 in 10 existing Rogers and Shaw customers, oppose this merger because it obviously will create less choice and higher prices for Canadians. All sorts of parties in terms of public advocates, public interest advocates, academics, all sorts of parties oppose this merger. The Conservative Party, the NDP Party, a number of Liberal caucus members where consumers will be directly affected in Ontario, BC, and Alberta. The Competition Commissioner opposes this merger and did so under an act that we all recognize as deficient and is currently being overhauled by this government. So we recommend, and we're calling on the minister to step in and block this anti-competitive merger. Very importantly, there is nothing anti-Videotron about blocking this anti-competitive merger. And once the government saves Canadians from this anti-competitive merger, a fair and open and transparent process can be run for the Freedom Mobile assets. To the extent the Shaw family would like to sell them, the government can oversee a process to ensure they go to a party that is qualified and that will ensure more competition for Canadians. So again, there's nothing anti-Videotron about blocking this anti-competitive merger. It's just the only mechanism left after the failure under the old Competition Act. The only mechanism left is for the minister to step in and decline a wireless license transfer to Videotron. Just by way of context and background, we at Globalive have been competing in the Canadian telecom industry for 25 years. We started competing in long-distance services back in the day. We competed in home phone and internet service and brought prices down in those 3 categories. And then we founded, built, and operated a facilities-based, independent, pure-play wireless carrier called Wind Mobile. And we successfully brought prices down 20%, and that meant an average household savings of $400 a year, whether you were a Wind Mobile customer or not. We're very proud of what we achieved for Canadians in the past 25 years in reducing prices. When we were in the process of continuing to build Wind from 0 to almost $500 million a year in revenue, from 0 to 1 million subscribers, from 0 and actually startup losses to positive $70 million of EBITDA when Shaw acquired the company, we were really committed to the long term to continuing to build the business. Unfortunately, in 2015, our governance was such that when Shaw approached the company with an attractive price, we were dragged into a sale to Shaw. We very publicly opposed that sale to Shaw because our independent, pure-play business model was proven, and Canadians were voting with their feet, and the growth of the business was spectacular, and we'd crossed strongly into positive EBITDA. But we were dragged into that sale, and as I say, we opposed it. At this point, we were, for me, et donc pour moi, Wind était une affaire.
Wind was something that was unfinished. My goal was always to provide lower prices, better service, and more choice to all Canadians in all provinces and territories.
Much unfinished business for us. And so when Rogers announced the proposed acquisition of Shaw, we immediately contacted Rogers and expressed our interest in re-entering the Canadian wireless market. Rogers told us they were not going to be selling any assets, and they were definitive about it, and that regardless, that we would not be entertained in any event. After a year of pressing Rogers, we finally submitted a funded, all-cash, no financing condition offer for $3.75 billion for the Freedom Mobile business, and we were looking to re-enter and again finish the work and the business that we'd started. Rogers did not entertain our offer for the obvious reason that we are an actual competitor. We actually had a track record of bringing prices down, and they were permitted and are being permitted potentially with this merger to select who their new competitor is going to be. In no universe does it make sense for a company like Rogers to be able to select who their competitor is going to be and then prop them up with a series of commercial agreements that we see now may actually be in violation of the Telecom Act. We call on the minister to block this anti-competitive merger. There is nothing anti-Videotron about blocking this anti-competitive merger and saving Canadians from it. Once the minister steps in and does that, to the extent the Shaw family wants to sell, the minister can oversee, the government can oversee a fair, open, and transparent process and ensure the best outcome for Canadians. Ensure the acquirer of freedom is committed to continuing to invest in networks, to buy more spectrum, to build into rural and Indigenous communities, to create more jobs, to bring prices down for Canadians, bring more innovation to the market, just as we did with Wind Mobile. Wireless networks are as important as roads in the digital economy. And as such, wireless networks need to be affordable, available, and accessible to all Canadians.